Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Dallas Daily Show, coming at you from the home office one more time here today. Today, we are talking about stunt work and community. So let's hop into the conversation. This has kind of been a fun week. I've been able to relieve. I've been able to relieve myself, folks. I have been able to relive so much better. Reliving a memory is better than relieving yourself of one, or just relieving yourself while you're recording a pod. This is a tremendous start, and I have all the power in the world right now to stop this camera, to stop this recording device, and to restart this whole thing, and you would never know. But then you wouldn't be relieved of how I relived that. And so I want you to just be a part of that. Woo, that's a all right. So this week we have been talking about reliving. I've been reliving some of my theater days and how I learned to be adaptable and stand-up comedy. And I mean, you guys have heard me say it, stand-up comedy, mime. Yesterday we talked about singing. I got to thinking about that singing stuff more and more. And maybe someday here in the future, I'll do a whole week on other life lessons from singing techniques. I think that could be a fun thing because after I recorded that one, my brain just kept going on it for a little bit. Today, though, there was a time I also did stunt work for a couple of years, actually. Now, I was not in movies. I did live stunt work at Knott's Berry Farm. I was on the stunt team there. I was a cowboy, folks. And if you've ever been to Knott's Berry Farm, it's like a it's like a Six Flags or a Holiday World or one of those. It's a theme park, but they had stunt cowboys who we had couple times a day. We had 3 shows a day on stage. We had about 3 or 4 street shows a day that we would go out in the street in the old West Town and we'd do our stunt work. And then I was also in one of the summer shows. And this was early on in my time in Los Angeles. But it was fun. I got to learn a lot about stunt work. And, you're doing choreographed fighting, which I had done stage combat when I got my degree in musical theater. I had done that previously, but the choreography, there's some lessons I learned in stunt work because it's kind of a controlled chaos, right? Stuff is choreographed, it's rehearsed, it's very controlled. It may look to the viewer like melee, but it's very much control. And there are other things that we had to learn as well. We had to learn how to fall. You had to learn how to take a punch, how to fall. You had to learn how to do all of that stuff. And so I started, when I started doing high fall work, you learn techniques like you learn things like spotting on the map, keeping your eye on the target of where you want to go. You learn things, obviously, you learn trust, but you learn how to land flat. You learn all of these just things so that when you hit the mat, you're not hitting it at a janky ankle and throwing out a hip or God forbid, something worse, right? You're learning how to control your body in a way that you're like, oh my gosh, that guy just fell 20 feet, 15 feet, 25 feet, whatever our falls were in the various shows. And when you saw it, everybody was like, oh, right? They had that brief moment of, oh my gosh, what just happened? And you were totally protected. And then also you had a spotter there beside you, making sure you were okay, thumbs up, I'm good. One of the things I learned in that, and there was a brotherhood in our stunt shows and amongst the cowboys, right? Because we're working with real weapons. We're shooting blanks, obviously, but we're working with real weapons. We're smashing bottles over each other's heads. You're, quote, throwing somebody off of a building, even though they're in total control of the throw. There's just all of this stuff to it that there is a lot of community and a lot of trust. As a matter of fact, I would say trust is everything in the stunt world. You literally are putting your life in someone else's hands. So trust is almost like like a non-negotiable, right? The thing that we have to do with each other is we're protecting each other continually. And like I said, there is a brotherhood in a brotherhood. I almost sounded like a wrestler. There's a brotherhood in pro wrestling as well. Sisterhood, brotherhood. Don't get confused in gender language there, guys. there is this sense of like strong relationships and community and trust and knowing that we have to communicate well, because miscommunication can lead, we're calling out our moves to each other. Any miscommunication can be a botch on the spot. It could lead to injury. It could lead to worse, right? So we're really communicating well. Take that and apply it to the business world. Now, sure, you're not doing, high falls. One of my favorite, I did one of the summer shows there, and 3 times a day I was up on a water tower getting shot off the water tower. Now, to the crowd, because the water tower was on top of a building, to the crowd it looked like a 40, 50-foot fall. For me, I landed on the roof. So my fall was about 20-something feet, 22, 23 feet maybe. But I did that 3 times a day. And there was always a spotter up there kind of keeping an eye on me. To them, it looked very fearful, to the outside world. To me, I was in total control. My spotter had me. There was a lot of trust, right? And it's probably no joke that in a lot of businesses, people will do, and you'll see kids do trust falls all the time. It's because we want to know who's got us. We want to know who will catch us, right? Strong relationships, clear communication that's built on trust. It's built on reliability. It's built on this idea of looking out for one another and looking toward the same goal together. Again, I kind of talked about that when I talked about the theater thing at the beginning of the week, but trust in each other is so key and so crucial. And I think what has begun to happen is in our society, and this is going to sound political for about 5 seconds, okay? In our society, we have been told not to trust each other. There's a lot of division between the right and the left, between the conservative and the liberal, between male and female, between the classes, between the sexes, between the ideologies. We've been told you cannot trust the other person, but I'm telling you now that if we can't learn to trust our fellow man because we have a larger vision, not just the division that's occurring, but the larger vision of this thing we call humanity, right? Of this journey of life we're all on together. We can come together with a larger vision of love, of unity. I'm not trying to, again, not political here, but I just watch people all the time break trust, and I'm watching people fall, and lives are getting hurt and ruined, and people are getting injured because there's not much trust in their community. I love the neighborhood I live in. We actually have a high level of trust with our neighbors. We have a neighborhood community thread. People are looking out for each other. People are using their bell cameras to let me know that my kids are ding-dong ditching them, which is amazing. Thank you, boys, for ding-dong ditching your neighbors. But there's a high level of trust here in our community because we're bonded by being in a community. We're bonded by being neighbors to each other. There are people who are Democrats. There are people who are Republicans. There are people who are far left and far right. There are people who are moderates in the middle. That's me, by the way. I'm the moderate in the crew. But there's a wide spectrum of beliefs, right? We have some Muslim families in the neighborhood. We have obviously some atheistic families. I think we have a Jewish family in the neighborhood. We have some Christians. We have Catholics. We have Lutherans. There's a lot of beliefs in the neighborhood, but we're bonded by being neighbors. See what I'm saying? That's the bigger cause. That's the bigger cause to us. So there's a communal trust that's occurring, and it's the same in stunts, and it's the same in leadership in your business, in your company, with your team. It's the same in your own home and dynamics. It's the same with your neighbors. If we don't trust, we're going to get mangled on the fall. We're going to miss our spot, and ultimately we're going to end up worse for it. So I kind of went a little bit longer today. Sorry, I guess that did get a little more political, but I really wish we could get back to trusting each other more and more. I think it's a safer world. It's a better controlled chaos. I'll tell you that. So that's it, my friends. That's all I got for you. I'll be quiet now. Have a wonderful weekend. Go out there and have a championship day.
Thanks for listening to my dad's podcast. For more tools, go to DallasDailyShow.com. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Thank you.